So in this video, I want to talk about what I call the three P's and three E's. So three P's and three E's. So the three P's are people, process, and products. Now, let me explain this. So most organizations, when they're reviewing things and find that there's a gap in their organization, and they need to create a strategy around how to address a gap. They all say the same things. They all talk about the importance of people, and so they believe in that. But, from experience, most organizations gap in this, and here's why. So they go through this. They go through and they say, okay, we've got a gap in this service, and somebody on the leadership team will say, well, I saw this or read about this product that is great, or service that's great, and it can help us with this. And so what they say is, okay, well, let's investigate it. So they get in touch with the product developer, they get a demo, they go through it, they say, oh, this seems like great. Let's see how we can make this work. So they take the product and seeing how you make it work, that's really called process. And they might pilot it in a particular campus, and they look at it and get some feedback on it, and then they come up and they say, okay, this seems to be working, so let's do this. Let's tell all the other people that all they have to do is change everything that they've known to be the way that they've done things, and do it exactly how we tell them, and everything's going to go well. And so that is reversing what it is. That is going from product to people. And it creates marginal success at best, and oftentimes creates frustration and distrust within the people that are actually performing the services that are going on. Now, if you go in the other direction, if you believe in your people first, if you say we've got a gap in this, and you go directly to the people who are responsible for this and say, hey, this was our goal, our expectation, and we seem to be gapping here because here are the current results. Can you give us some input on what it is that's not working correctly? And, gather the information, because we're not sure whether it's a people, process, or product problem. And as a result of that, you can get them to have early buy in. And you can also gain a lot of experience and exposure to things that otherwise you wouldn't know because you don't do it every day. So I strongly encourage you to go through that process. But as a leader and trying to develop a strategy, oftentimes I'll look at what the gap is, and I'll look and investigate, is it first a people issue? And if it's happening across the board and not in rare situations, then it's not a people problem usually. It is usually either a process or product problem, because when it's a people problem, it is more narrowly cast. So it might be happening in our case at Trilogy, there's 120 locations. If 4 or 5 locations are not performing, that could be a people problem. But if it's not happening in 30, 50, 70 locations, then that's not a people problem. That is either a process or a product problem. And ultimately, what we're hopeful for is that we can solve and give some directions on which one of these is the issue, so that we can directly impact the results. In every process that we take, every time we implement something new, whether it's a new product or new process, or if we're training people in a certain way, I believe in what we call the three E's. And so the three E's are: it should be easy, efficient, and effective. So let's be honest here. Whenever we do a training or an implementation, if it's not easy for the people that are going to be doing it on the front line, then it's going to be very difficult for it to get started. And so And if it's not efficient, then people aren't likely to continue to do it. And if it's not effective, we shouldn't be doing it. So, relating everything back and making sure that you continually ask yourself as you're implementing a strategy, within your organization, is this easy for people? Is this efficient for them? Is it effective for us? You know, and then asking them the same questions to again get the people's feedback, because that is ultimately where the rubber hits the road. It doesn't hit the road on a leader who's in and out of retire. It hits it at the bedside within the healthcare organization, within the environmental services team for around infection control, around the activities team when it's about how people feel about how the activities going on. It's not by a leader who's disconnected. It's by the actual leader who is working directly with your consumers or your customers.